Well, that report by Muflanda Cox sets the tune for our conversation today. And our guest is Dr. Niyi Akinsiju, financial analyst. Dr. Niyi Akinsiju, glad to have you again on Business Express.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, 20.12%. We seem to be getting somewhere because the target was for 2025 budget was around 15% inflation figure. What do you make of this development?
I think this time we can start talking about a trend. If we have 5 months consecutive decline in inflation rates month on month, and of course already the target for the CBN had been achieved at 21%. So if we have 20.12, I'm very sure the CBN was not even looking at a possibility of returning 21% in August. So it was quite exciting for people like us who had actually been looking out for when we will achieve the CBN target inflation rate. So at 21, it's one milestone in the monetary policy universe. Of course, in the fiscal universe, you also have the 15% target by the federal government. It would appear that at the least the target would move nearer that 15% if it's not totally accomplished.
That's by the end of this year.
Yeah, by the end of this year. I think for me, what is differentiating the trend is the fact that there is a quantum leap in the July to August figure, which I would describe as a swing rather than a marginal decline that as we have been experiencing from April or thereabout, April, May, June to July. It's been most of the decline are recorded under 100 basis points, but we are seeing higher than 100 basis points. Basically, we are looking at 142 basis points in the year on year in headline inflation. So for me, that is not a marginal decline. It is actually a swing, and would it also continue if the swing goes on like this? It would.
Now, how much of this can be attributed to the federal government's economic reforms and some of the reforms we've seen in other sectors as well?
I think largely the reforms have been able to facilitate higher, more intense inflow of foreign capital into the Nigerian economy, so much that now we are talking about a reserve that is going very near $42 billion. I think precisely we're talking of 41.6 billion. So, and of course, more exciting actually was that in a month, under a month, more than 4 billion was added, to the reserve between July and August. So it tells you the verve that is driving the economy. And again, you also see the value discovery in the foreign exchange universe. We are seeing how, of course, the foreign exchange transaction pricing are getting very powered on. As at yesterday, it was 1,497, to a dollar. And some of us are actually looking at something near 1,400, which is even below the budget benchmark, for 2025. And it's very possible because, again, we are seeing a higher increase in the inflow. And beside foreign portfolio inflow, we are seeing a lot of activities in exporters, Nigeria's exporters, inflow into the economy. And also the corporates, too. So we are coming from different different foreign exchange sources coming into the country. So to that extent, it will mean that the lower the price of foreign exchange is, it would, of course, impact what normally used to be imported inflation into the country.
Okay. Well, to look at the figures very closely, despite the overall deep food inflation remains a stubborn issue with a month-on-month rise of 1.65%. How is this affecting the average Nigerian household, and how immediate steps could help? What immediate steps could help actually ease the burden?
I think, on the contrary, I want to commend the month-on-month food inflation rate, declining from actually 3.12 in July to 1.65 in August. That's a difference of more than 100 basis points. So to that extent, it told me that it is a validation. That figure is a validation of what we have been hearing from reports and, of course, from surveys of food markets, talking to how food prices are falling. Now, I would want to put a caveat though. We are not comparing, price of food to 2010. Or to 2015, we are comparing relative, to the months before. So to a large extent, it would appear that food prices are declining. And to that extent, because expenditure on food commands a larger percentage of household income. So when prices continue to decline, it would also mean that there will be surplus, surplus money, surplus income for households to spend on other forms of expenditure, especially discretionary expenditure.
How long do you think this will definitely hold? Are we going to continue? Though you mentioned that you expect to see us achieving close to, if possible, if not possibly, the 15% target that we have for this particular year. But how long can we keep this moving, inflation down?
I think the momentum is just actually starting. Okay. It's just now that we have seen the first sign of momentum with the swing, as it is in the August figure. And I also observed that the federal government is making every effort to reduce or to obliterate any form of cost implication in the space. Just recently, today or yesterday, the FOB levy by the customs was suspended. That is 4% FOB levy by the customs was suspended. There's also the suspension of a possible fuel tax. And I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was also the suspension of the telecom tax, 5% telecom tax. So to a large extent, we are seeing that there is a deliberate policy of pacification of any possible cost origin, in the economic space.
Energy is the main issue.
Yes.
Energy cost.
But thankfully, we're actually having a benefit of two words. We are no longer pressuring our foreign exchange to import in a large volume petrol. And then we are also earning more, thankful to the Dangote refinery, which is now just exporting, what we used to import into this country. So much that we haven't, the latest report is a huge export of about 1 billion liters to the United States of America. So we rather than spending hugely to import from our foreign reserve, we're actually experiencing accretion to the foreign reserve through our export activities. And we are not just even talking about crude oil and the PMS. We are also talking of agriculture, our basic agriculture that used to be the backbencher in possible exploits.
So what would you like to see the MPC do? Because the MPC meeting will be next week.
Yes, I am hopeful that the MPC, for whatever is worth, would review the MPR even if it's by 25 basis points.
Are we going to likely see a kind of loosening, or they will keep holding?
That's the easing. I am advocating for an easing because it is also important that when you get to this kind of points, when the inflation rate is declining, and of course there is this talk about expanding business activities, the CBN and the MPR Council, the Monetary Policy Council, should, by way of sending the right signal into the market, reduce the monetary policy rate from the 27.25 that it is, even if it's by 25 basis points, so that it can send message of supporting production and productivity into the economic space.
Dr. Niyi Akinsiju, financial analyst, thank you for sharing your thought with us.
Pleasure as always, man. Thanks for having me.